get started momentarily. I just need a moment or two to get myself situated over here. Let's set up the chat. Okay, that looks good. Almost done, waiting for some more friends to hop on in. Okay, that also looks good. Okay, so replay crew, please do not worry. There will be timestamps added to this a little bit later on. Probably not right away, but at some point this evening, I will get the timestamps situated for you guys, for my replay crew. We are today going to be looking into the long requested and the long awaited video on Amy Lynn Bradley. I was starting to feel like you guys probably thought I was gatekeeping. Not so. Not my favorite energy read that I've ever done. And you know what, as a channeler and as a content creator, that's perfectly okay. I don't have to love every channeling session that I have. But when we get into the energy reading portion on her, you'll probably also understand why I kind of waited to get the information out to you, because of something that her energy had specifically shared with me. That's why. More than anything, that's the real reason why. So let's just do that. Okay, I gotta get, because you know, I'm always 10 minutes behind. I gotta get my footstool over here before we get into the reading. Hello, Michelle darling. This has been a long requested and a long awaited one. So we're gonna do it today. Finally, we're getting into it. I'm gonna get my footstool. I will be right back, friends. This is usually when people leave. They come in, they see there's nobody sitting here, and they're like, what the fuck am I sticking around for? There's no one even there. So I had to do that real quick. Not like I could have had my shit together before we started and had my footstool here before we dove in. No, of course not. That would have been me having my shit together. Okay, so here we go. Literally don't have my shit together. I got notebooks like flying everywhere. Here we go. So we're gonna start with the intro. Then we're gonna look into the 3D facts of the case. And then we're gonna get into the psychic energy reading on what happened to Amy Lynn Bradley. So here we go. Hello, Shantao. All right, so here we go. A carefree cruise, a vanished daughter. Amy Lynn Bradley disappeared without a trace from a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, but the mysterious reports of sightings thereafter have haunted her family. And now, with renewed interest in the case and a Netflix series, well, that seems to compound the situation. In this psychic energy reading, we tune into the energetic trail left behind to uncover, at least according to me, what had happened to Amy Lynn Bradley when she had vanished at sea. Was she taken off of the ship? Did she leave of her own volition the next day? Or perhaps is the truth far darker than anything anyone could have imagined? Let's find out. Now, let us get into some 3D facts of the case for anyone that is not terribly familiar with who Amy Lynn Bradley is. So, I am going to be, as I always do, looking at the Wikipedia page for Amy Lynn Bradley to share what it is that is said to have happened to her, as well as some of the investigation that had occurred since then. Okay, so here we go. This is Amy Lynn Bradley's Wikipedia page. Amy Lynn Bradley, who was born on May 12, 1974, is an American woman who went missing during a Caribbean cruise on the Royal Caribbean International Cruise Ship, Rhapsody of the Seas, in late March 1998, while en route to Curacao. Her whereabouts remain unknown to date. Okay, we don't need to talk about where she had graduated from, for brevity's sake. She was the age of 23 at the time of her disappearance. So here are some facts of the case. On March 24th, 1998, the ship's door lock system recorded Bradley returning to her family's cabin at 3:40 a.m. after staying up dancing until late. Her father, Ron, awoke around 5:30 a.m. to see her sleeping on a deck chair on the balcony. However, she was missing at 6 a.m. when he had gone back to sleep and then he had reawoken and she was gone at 6 a.m. When authorities were alerted, the Netherlands Antilles Coast Guard conducted a 4-day search in the surrounding waters and along the cruise lines to no avail. Authorities began to speculate that she may have fallen overboard and drowned or had unalived herself. In the years since her disappearance, there have been several claimed sightings of Bradley in Curacao, Barbados, and San Francisco. While investigators have been unable to corroborate any of these sightings, they have fueled speculation that Bradley fell victim to foul play, or I don't know if I can say the word, so trafficking of a human being. The case has been presented on Dr. Phil and America's Most Wanted. In July 2025, the 3-part documentary series, Amy Bradley is Missing, was released on Netflix. I have not seen it. I have not turned my TV on in probably about 6 months at this point. I only had known about the Netflix series because so many of you guys had come to me and said there's this new Netflix series, can you please look into her? Okay, let's get to some more facts here. Here's the disappearance. And I think it's important to lay the groundwork in what was said about the case before we get into the psychic energy reading. So between 5:15 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. on March 24th, her father, Ron, awoke and checked on his children, seeing that Bradley was asleep on the lounge chair of their cabin's balcony. Ron told local newspapers, quote, "I could see Amy's legs from her hips down. I dozed back off to sleep. The balcony door was closed because if it hadn't have been closed, I would have gotten up and closed it," end quote. However, other reports indicated that the balcony door was open at the time. When he got up at 6 a.m., however, Bradley was gone, along with her cigarettes and lighter. He later said, quote, "I left to try and go up and find her. When I couldn't find her, I didn't really know what to think because it was very much unlike Amy to leave and not tell us where she was going," end quote. After Ron searched the common areas of the ship, he woke up the rest of the family and told them at 6:30 a.m. that Amy was missing. On the morning of the disappearance, 3 witnesses claimed to have seen Bradley on the upper deck with Alistair Douglas between 5:30 a.m. and 5:45 a.m. in possession of a camera. Wait, I read that funny. I'm sorry. They had seen her there with a camera. They also testified to seeing Douglas hand Bradley a drink containing dark liquid. They claimed Bradley and Douglas arrived in the elevator at the same time and that Douglas was then seen leaving the upper deck alone shortly after 6 a.m. Search and investigation. Bradley's family immediately reported her disappearance to the onboard crew and pleaded with the crew members to keep the 2,000 passengers from disembarking the cruise and to make an announcement to assist in finding Bradley. However, the team at their purser's office informed them that it was too early to make a shipwide announcement. The crew agreed to issue an announcement at 7:50 a.m. after the majority of passengers had already left the ship, announcing, "Will Amy Bradley come to the purser's desk?" Between 12:15 p.m. and 1 p.m., the crew searched through the ship but could not find Bradley. The delay in launching an immediate search has been called a mistake that could have hurt chances of finding Bradley. Hi, Lucky honey. You will hear me, do not worry. I listen to videos all the time when I'm in the shower myself, so you will definitely hear me. Brad recalled that Douglas came up to him shortly after Bradley disappeared and said, quote, "Hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your sister," end quote. No announcement had been made by that time, and Brad said the timing of the conversation was suspicious. Now, Brad is her brother. I know you got your speaker on, honey. The FBI interviewed Douglas soon after and gave him a polygraph test, which was inconclusive. Ron said that Douglas came out of the interview smiling with his thumbs up to his band members like everything's cool. Douglas denied knowing anything about Bradley's disappearance. The Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard conducted a 4-day search that ended on March 27th. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines chartered boats to continue looking for her. The Coast Guard used 3 helicopters and a radar plane to assist in the search. Initially, the authorities suspected that Bradley had either fallen overboard or had unalived herself. However, investigators said there is, quote, "no evidence that Amy, a trained lifeguard, fell overboard, was pushed, or unalived herself," end quote. We're going to talk about the fact that she was a trained lifeguard in a few minutes, because my spidey senses just jumped out at me when reading that. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting, because there were a number of possible sightings of her in the months after she had disappeared. So here they are, possible sightings. 1 month after Bradley's disappearance, her family traveled to Curacao and were approached by a cab driver who claimed to have seen Bradley while the ship was docked on March 24th. Why did he not go to authorities and report that sooner? But okay. He said Bradley was running through the parking lot in search of a phone. He stated he remembered her green eyes, which were described in the reward poster. Anyone here familiar with false memories? And how they can literally be implanted? Anyway, the witness also claimed to have seen Bradley in other locations on the island. The cab driver's claims were never corroborated by authorities. And again, 2% personal opinion, why did he not report them to authorities at the time he had allegedly seen her? And why did he only wait to report it to the family? But I digress. No one's interested in my 2% personal opinion. Shut up, Faye. In August 1998, 2 Canadian divers claimed to have seen a woman they believed to be Bradley on a popular Curacao diving beach known as Playa Porto Marie. Witness David Carmichael claimed that a woman matching Bradley's description was in the presence of 2, quote, aggressive men, end quote, one reportedly fitting Douglas's description. Now, Douglas, again, is the last person allegedly to have seen her alive on the cruise ship. The witness yelled out to a friend asking if he had a piece of dive gear. The woman believed to be Bradley, upon hearing the man speak English, reportedly spun around and came back towards him. The witness then claimed that the man resembling Douglas came into his field of vision and motioned the woman away from the beach's bar. Carmichael claims the woman, who would occasionally look at him and then look down, appeared to try to subtly communicate with him. The witnesses were 2 feet away from the woman and accurately described Bradley's eyes and tattoos. Carmichael recognized Bradley after seeing her photo on America's Most Wanted and stated, quote, "I am haunted by that encounter with Amy. I know it was her," end quote. He later phoned Bradley's father and flew to Virginia to meet the Bradley family. The FBI investigated the reported sighting but were unable to corroborate the claims. We are going to talk about this in the energy reading, rest assured. U.S. Navy Petty Officer William Hefner claimed to have encountered a woman claiming to be Amy Bradley at a brothel in Curacao in January 1999. Wow, this took a dark turn. Hefner described being seated in the bar area when a Caucasian woman approached him, identifying herself as Amy Bradley and pleading for assistance. According to Hefner, she told him she was being held against her will. Hefner said the woman explained her situation, telling him that she had been on a cruise, had disembarked to seek drugs, and was now trapped in the establishment. After retiring from the Navy, Hefner reached out to Bradley's family in May 2002. Hold on. This allegedly happened in January 1999, and he only reached out to the family in May 2002. Okay. So anyway, he reached out to the family in May 2002, explaining that he initially refrained from reporting the incident due to concerns for his military career. I'm sorry, guys. I just find this whole thing to be highly implausible. But okay, I digress again. Okay, so he initially refrained from reporting the incident due to concerns for his military career related to his presence in a brothel. He expressed conviction that the woman he encountered was indeed Amy Bradley. The FBI subsequently investigated these claims. However, they discovered that the brothel had burned down. Well, isn't that convenient? And no substantive evidence was found to support Hefner's assertions. Okay, we're going to talk about that as well. Amy has addressed all of this when I had connected to her energy, so rest assured we will touch on all of it. Okay. Later developments. In the fall of 1999, Bradley's parents I cannot get over this. Okay, let's move on. In the fall of 1999, Bradley's parents received an email from a man named Frank Jones. Frank told his family that he was a former U.S. Army Special Forces officer with a team of experienced soldiers who might be able to rescue Bradley. From where, we don't know. Where she was unknown, but he was going to go in and he was going to get her, even though nobody knew where she was. But okay. I mean, am I the only one that just sees like implausibility everywhere I look with this story? Guys, comment and let me know. Please let me know. I can't be the only one. Here we go. Okay, so Jones had claimed that his team had seen Bradley being held by heavily armed Colombian personnel in a housing complex surrounded by barbed wire. Who is he, like Osama bin Laden? Okay, anyway. The team also gave an accurate description of Bradley's tattoos, which we already know was widely reported on America's Most Wanted, but okay. So they had given an accurate description of Bradley's tattoos and sang the lullaby that Bradley's mother used to sing to her. Over the next few months, Frank would feed news to the family and provided reports on sightings of their daughter. When Jones told them they were going to attempt a rescue, he added that more fun... This was a shakedown. I got it. Okay. That more funds were needed. The Bradleys sent Jones a total of $210,000 to fund the setup for the search and had expected a call from Jones and his team for the results of the rescue mission that never came. I'm so totally not surprised, not even a little bit. Jones had made the story up and had tried to scam the Bradleys of money. In February 2002, federal prosecutors in Richmond charged him with defrauding the Bradleys of $24,444,000 and the National Children's Organization of $186,000. Jones pled guilty in April of mail fraud and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Hey, Cindy, honey, I'm glad you're here, darling. In April 2003, witnesses reported seeing a woman matching Bradley's description in San Francisco, California, watching, well, for a woman that's, imprisoned and allegedly in trafficking, she seems to get around. I mean, they're letting her watch street performers? Okay, then. I'm not making light of the situation. I think you're probably getting a glimpse of how implausible I find these alleged sightings to be. So yeah, in April 2003, witnesses reported seeing a woman matching Bradley's description in San Francisco, California, watching a street musician in the company of two men. The witnesses asserted they immediately recognized the woman as Bradley. Upon realizing they had been identified, the two men reportedly seized her and fled the scene. The woman allegedly cast a pleading look to the witnesses as she was being taken away. FBI sketches were released of the men who were believed to be with Bradley at the time. More sightings, goodness me. In March 2005, a witness named Judy Moorer claimed to have seen Bradley in a department store restroom in Bridgetown, Barbados. More traveling. Moorer said she was using the restroom when a woman entered, accompanied by 4 men who were discussing what sounded like an illegal deal. Moorer said the woman at one point asked the men if they could stop and see the children. It is unknown what children were being referenced. Moorer claims that at the point the men left the restroom and she exited the stall and spoke to the woman. She said she believed the woman said she was from West Virginia and softly said her name was Amy. Moorer called authorities and they created composite sketches of men of the woman based on her account. Bradley's parents appeared on the November 17, 2005 episode of Dr. Phil. During the episode, an image of a scantily clad woman, I'm sorry, there's somebody that's going to be like, don't you know how to pronounce English words? Woman, singular, not plural, resembling Bradley that had been emailed to her parents was shown on the program, suggesting that she could have been trafficked into sexual slavery. 2 photographs were discovered online by a member of an organization that attempts to track victims on sites that feature sex workers. The woman in the photo has been said to appear, quote, distraught and despondent, and was a sex worker known as Jazz. I mean, just wondering, is there like a market for men that want women that appear to be distraught? I'm actually really just asking though. Is it like some sort of a kink or a fetish? Like they want a woman that looks like she's distraught because that's gonna like fit in some sort of like fantasy that they have. I don't know. I'm just asking question, guys. Hello, Ashley, my darling. I'm glad that you caught the live too, honey. So anyway, I'm just voicing some questions here. I don't know. Because I would think like if it's some sort of a promotional image for a woman, you would want them to appear to be like sexy and flirtatious and like, given like a come hither look to the camera, like come here, big daddy, Not like a distraught kind of looking image. Again, I don't know, I'm just asking questions here. The authenticity of the photographs could not be determined by the FBI. Special Agent Erin Sheridan stated, quote, "We did follow that lead. The difficult part is back then, information such as that or pictures such as that, you cannot tell when they are altered," end quote. That's interesting. A man who later worked with the FBI performed facial comparisons, and his opinion was that the photographs were of Bradley. But again, according to the FBI, they can't tell if the photo had been altered. So I don't know about that. In 2010, a human jawbone washed ashore in Aruba. Initially, we know it's not already her. I'm not even going to read this. Okay. Theories and speculation. Do we need to read this? There are theories regarding what could have happened to Bradley. One of the most popular theories was that she was kidnapped and sold into the illegal trafficking industry in the Caribbean. This was based on the account of Hefner and the photo that was emailed to Bradley's family in 2005. Hello, Abundantly Empowered. We are glad that you caught the live, darling. This theory also includes suspicions of the ship's band members on the night of Bradley's disappearance and conflict between the story that bass player Douglas gave to the authorities compared to what was seen on CCTV footage. Claims have also been made that a waiter on the ship could have been involved in Bradley's disappearance. Throughout the night, Bradley's family was approached by the waiter asking to pass a note to Bradley for him, involving an invitation for her to go drinking with him once they reached shore. In addition, the professional photographer had printed out all the photos taken throughout the cruise to sell at a stall, but the family could not find any of Bradley's photos. This made them believe the photos had been removed by somebody. I mean, we're getting deep here, are we not? Another theory authorities considered was that Bradley was unalived on the ship and thrown overboard. However, the only evidence supporting this is the discovery of a jawbone which washed ashore and which was already determined not to be hers. Bradley falling overboard or unaliving herself is another theory, as initially suggested by authorities. In November 1998, FBI Special Agent James Weber stated, quote, I can't take liberties. This is a direct quote. "We've pursued every angle from whether there was foul play, an unaliving, or an accident, and we have basically not gotten anywhere," end quote. Aftermath and rewards. The FBI is currently offering a reward of up to $25,000 for any information that could potentially lead to finding Bradley or leading to the arrest and conviction of persons responsible for her disappearance. The family has offered $250,000 reward for information leading to her safe return and a reward of $50,000 for information leading to her current location. Okay, I think that's basically it. Now, I had reviewed this Wikipedia page a number of months ago after I had first looked into her, and it looks like this is kind of weird. It actually looks like the page has changed since I had first looked into it, which I find to be rather interesting. Let me see if I can find what had been said in the past. Hang on a second. This is so weird. This page has definitely changed since then, which I find to be very, very unusual. Because I remember a couple of months ago reading that they had suggested that because she was a trained lifeguard, that if she would have fallen overboard, she would have survived. Okay, so I want to actually discuss that, even though it's not on this Wikipedia page. Because specifically, here we go. No, it's still been altered. Because here's the line that I had read before. Investigators said there is no evidence that Amy, a trained lifeguard, fell overboard. Now, what does her being a trained lifeguard have to do with her falling overboard? They're suggesting because she's a trained lifeguard, if she was pushed overboard, she would have survived, right? Okay. Let's find out what floor the family's cabin was on, okay? How are we gonna look this up? What floor was the Bradley family's cabin on the cruise ship? Okay, so the AI overview states that the Bradley family's cabin on the cruise ship was on the 8th floor. Okay, so that's 8 stories up, right? So we're assuming that if she's a trained lifeguard and she fell from 8 stories up into the water, because she's a trained lifeguard, she was somehow going to survive. This is not taking into account that if somebody falls from a great height, even if it's into water, it is the equivalent of falling onto concrete. So every bone in that person's body likely would have shattered. Okay? Now, this is also further not taking into account the fact that just a few hours earlier, her and her brother had been out all night dancing and drinking. So are we somehow going to suspend our disbelief to the point of saying this was likely an inebriated woman, okay, that had fallen from 8 stories or was pushed for reasons unknown from 8 stories up into the water, inebriated, likely fatigued because she hadn't slept from that morning, and somehow because she's a trained lifeguard, that precludes the fact that at 8 stories falling into water, every bone in a person's body would shatter. Is it just me that sees the implausibility here? It can't be. It cannot be. I'm going to consciously hydrate. I'm going to let that kind of mull for a moment. See if you guys want to weigh in that as well, and then we're going to get into the energy reading on Miss Bradley. And I'm sorry, the former, what was he, like the Navy officer, not the one that scammed the parents, the one that 2.5 years later claimed to have seen her in a brothel and never spoke up, that just, to me anyway, reeks of like dishonesty. I cannot look at that and think in any reality there's a person that would come forward years later. I just cannot. I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to catch up on comments and then we're going to get into the energy reading. So here we go. Not that many comments, which means you guys are glued, and I like that. Thank you. Hi, Franca, honey. I know you have been asking. Franco, you get an award for the most patient viewer, community member, like of all time, because I know you have been waiting a long time for this. So I really appreciate you, Franca, honey. Yay, I'm so glad I could catch this live. I will listen as I drive home from work. Hi, Faye and everyone. Hello, Jamie, my darling. Michelle, not likely survivable. Yeah, no. Talk about honor and service, right? That's what I'm saying. So again, to touch upon what you had said, not likely survivable. Inebriated woman, fatigued, didn't sleep since that morning, was up late dancing the whole night. 8 stories up. Okay. Trained lifeguard, inebriated, fatigued, up dancing late, fell in or was pushed into the water, and somehow we're going to believe she was a trained lifeguard, she was going to survive that. Like, so suddenly being like a trained lifeguard means somebody is like an Olympic level diver, right? Like the Olympic level divers don't even dive from 8 stories up. What is it? I think the max is like 4 stories up. That's in the Olympics, people that have trained their whole life to fall into the, to dive into the water the correct way, not where they're going to actually like get hurt. That's 4 stories up. Olympic trained athletes. This was a drunk, inebriated person 8 stories up. I don't buy it. Cindy, definitely listening intently. I love you guys. Michelle, not a chance. Hi, Lisa, honey. The long-awaited video is here, my darling. Jamie, hello, Franca and Lucky. Hi, Laura, honey. Hey, family, sending love and hugs from Utah. We appreciate your love and hugs. Michelle, I was a firefighter, not believable. Ooh, baby, I have a feeling you have some really, really interesting stories. If you ever want to share them, I am here for that. Okay, so now, before I get into the psychic energy reading, this video comes with a big... I'm an idiot, I just dropped my pen. This video comes with a big disclaimer. You will understand why in a moment. But because I'm a baby, I had to pick up my pen. So, first and foremost, what I really, really want you guys to know before I dive into it is this. Please do not ever give away your inner authority to any reader on YouTube or any other platform. If the information I share does not resonate or align with what you yourself personally, what resonates with your own inner knowing, do not abdicate that to me or anyone else, because we are sharing what it is that we have seen, either through energy reading or some sort of psychic imprint or intuition or a mediumship or tarot or anything. The point of this is never for you to abdicate your own inner knowing. If the information doesn't resonate, that's okay. Don't take it if it doesn't resonate with you. Now, to that end, I have a blog post on my website in which I specifically bring this case up because I know there are a lot of different readers that have gotten a lot of different things. And the blog post discusses how different readers could come to different conclusions and how we can actually both be right. And if we have time at the end of me doing the energy reading and taking your guys' questions, assuming there will be, I'll actually pull up that blog post and I will read it to you so you can have a greater understanding in how, if you have watched somebody else and they have come to a different conclusion, how they could be right and how I could also be right. Now, this is not because I think that I'm wrong, so I have to somehow in my mind do mental gymnastics and do like a whole blog post to like get out ahead of it and be like, no, I'm right and they're right and we're all, has nothing to do with that. What I share does not come from any sense of ego. I don't have to be right. I'm not invested in being right. I just want to share what was shown to me. Because guess what, guys? There's an audience for everything. And something is always going to resonate with a certain kind of viewer. And if you're the kind of viewer that this information resonates with, cool. If it doesn't, also cool. But don't try to make what a reader shares work for you if it doesn't align with your own inner knowing. That is the most important thing. So please keep that in mind as I get into the energy reading. Okay, guys? Abundantly empowered. Wild that she was declared deceased with no body. They can do that after a certain amount of time, legally. Lisa, thanks, Faye. I didn't believe she drowned, but now that you are going into the details, it's very interesting. Thank you. I'm glad that it's permeating. Jamie, you look amazing, Faye. Finally, I got my hearing aids fixed. Woot woot. I'm happy for you, honey. I actually put makeup on today. I made an effort. I was like, I'm not going to be a scrub today. Abundantly empowered. Love these disclaimers for personal sovereignty, Faye. That's how we know you're a real one. Thank you, honey. Lisa, I am willing to be open to what you are going to share. Lisa, hi Jamie, that's great. It is really great news. Okay, hi Jenna, honey. I'm glad that you're here, sweetie. Okay, so energy read on Amy Lynn Bradley, and yes, she did discuss some of these supposed sightings. And it looks like we will have time that I can actually read the blog post if you guys are interested in it. I don't want to impose anything on you, so if you guys want to hear it afterwards, because maybe it's going to help make context of how if I have gotten something different than another reader, like how that could be the case. Whatever you guys want, I'm here for it. I'm not going to impose my will on anybody, okay guys? So here we go. Psychic energy reading, even though I don't like the word psychic, but let's more look at it like energy reading, post-cognitive energy reading, and mediumship session with Amy Lynn Bradley's energy. Lisa, I missed tuning into your live last week. Honey, I'm going live tomorrow. You can catch me, doll. Lucky, the other readers aren't you. I love you, honey. Thank you for saying so. But just because they aren't me doesn't mean they don't bring something to the table. We all actually do. All right, so here we go. Energy reading into Amy Lynn Bradley. As soon as I had connected to Amy's energy, she had told me. Again, there's a reason I stick to my notes. The information is not mine to take liberty with. Because you might be thinking, shared with me, told me, what's the fucking difference, right? The difference is, this is literally, and you guys know I'm very into like the words that a person uses, or the words that the energy of a person uses. It speaks fucking volumes. That's why I do not take liberty with any information that is shared with me by a person's energy. So that's why I'm immediately correcting myself, and I'm not saying no, shared with me, it was told to me by her energy. Hi, Iron honey. I'm glad that you're here, sweetie. Lucky, I know, but you're the best. Thank you, doll. So here we go. Amy, as soon as I had connected to Amy's energy, she told me she has a story to tell. And it is one that she has tried to tell her parents, but in their grief and refusal to believe she's gone, there's just so much noise, and now she fears no one can hear her. So right out of the gate, Amy's energy had shared with me she's gone, as in she's on the other side. Now, she also shared with me she has chosen to stay near the earth plane, at least for now, and not to follow her angels across onto the other side, but it's becoming harder and harder to stay with all the noise the Netflix documentary has created, and that she thinks her parents cannot hear her or see her, and she's getting ready to go, as in she is getting ready to cross over onto the other side for good. Now, I'm not saying she's alive and that's why she hasn't crossed over. It's to say that the energetic essence of her soul has not crossed over onto the other side, but has made a choice to stay here closer to the earth plane, at least for the time being. She's tried so hard to get her parents to just feel her when she is with them, but they are so in denial, it's becoming futile. They didn't used to be so obstinate, she shared with me. They were once slower and more relaxed, but they've changed. So fundamentally, she's not sure they'd even believe she was gone if they themselves crossed over right now and saw her on the other side. That's some deep, deep, deep denial. They become somewhat of celebrities in their own right and receive so much attention because of this, she wonders if that's the motivation to keep her alive, quote unquote, or at least in theory anyway. Of course, she concedes people coming forward over the years to report on sightings of her does not help her parents either. And to that, she says, people see what they want to see. And if they wanted to see her alive and to feel helpful to her family, or to put them in proximity to a suffering family, or to have a tale to tell their friends or their family how they had seen Amy Lynn Bradley, it's so that they themselves could feel special. And to that, she says, enough said. Now, I myself, when she had confided this in me, I thought that was very, very interesting and compelling, because she is basically lending a different lens or viewpoint into why people have come forward with these supposed alleged sightings. You know, and again, the one with that like former Marine coming forward 2.5 years later, I just don't buy it. I just don't. And here she is lending credence to why it doesn't resonate with me and it doesn't land as true, not even a little bit. Because she's saying people see what they want to see. They want to feel helpful to a grieving family, or to put them in proximity to a suffering family, or to have a tale to tell their friends and their family to feel special. And doesn't that sound psychologically true? But she had shared with me, what people don't realize or think about or care about is that it prolongs a family's suffering by giving them false hope to cling to. And that false hope is like a tether to a soul, and it keeps her connected here. Not because it usurps her soul's free will to decide to pass on onto the other side, but in some ways, she feels she wants to stay so her parents can feel her when she is with them. So they can know, and maybe in their knowing, they can finally be at peace. So the tether that is being created does not usurp her free will. She could still choose to allow her soul to cross over onto the other side for good, but out of a sense of obligation to her grieving family, she is making the choice to stay here so they can feel energetically her presence and know that she has crossed over. Or at least that's what she's been hoping. But now there is no peace, only noise. Only attention and a complete denial that Amy is gone. And now, more attention. So much new attention, all being directed at her family, and it's new attention, new energy, and a further refusal to maybe let her go. Because why would they? If before they were only local celebrities, well, now they are countrywide and maybe even worldwide, and she concluded they have changed because of it. And it feels like she is being exploited energetically. So after she had shared all of this with me, I had asked her, since she is on the other side, even though she's, it kind of sounds funny to say, right? She's on the other side, but she's not actually like on the other side. So I think a better way of actually phrasing it would be to say, since she is out of her body. So since she is out of her body, I lost my place, I'm sorry. Okay, so since she is out of her body, I asked her, can she share with me how she got out of her body? And she says, somewhat. Because it was a blur. She was very drunk, a little high, and after her brother had fallen asleep, she had gone above deck. Now, I'm actually going to pause for a second. I'm going to do a TO, which is to say, because she is actually just out of her body and her soul is not on the other side, she has not had an opportunity to see her life like it's a movie, right? Without the level of attachment that we feel to our body and our life experiences when we're still in our body. Because when we're on the other side and we have the opportunity to see our life like it's a movie, there's no attachment. So at that point, she would actually be able to tell me, well, now that I'm on the other side and I've had the opportunity to see all of this, I can tell you what in fact had happened to me. She's only out of her body, not on the other side. So when she had shared this with me, it was through the lens of what her soul remembered, because again, she's not on the other side. She doesn't know the objective reality of what had happened to her, only her soul's remembrance of what had happened that night. Please keep that in mind. But I'm going to pause for dramatic effect, and I'm going to catch up on comments before I share with you what she had shared with me had happened that night. Lisa, yes, she is. I know that everyone can get something different, which is why I wanted to know what you got on her. Thank you, honey. Jamie, yes, Lucky, I completely agree. Faye, I love you, honey. Faye, I love you guys. I really do. Lisa, I myself believe that people only see and think what they want, what they want to, so I relate to that. Hey, Steve, I'm so glad you're here, honey. Just got home, dropping in to send love. I'm glad you're here. And hey, Kristen, I'm sorry, Kristen. All right. So I think that was enough dramatic effect pausing, right? Let's get into what her energy had shared with me had occurred that night. So again, she had said it was a blur. She was very drunk, a little high, and after her brother had fallen asleep, she had gone above deck. She felt claustrophobic and wanted air, which sounds funny because she was on a deck and she was outside, to which she had said more air than she had on the cabin's deck. Even though it was outside, it was too small and she felt stifled. She left, had gone above deck, and had seen some people, but she could not remember who. But she had drank with them some more, and that was a mistake. Because at that time she had become so drunk, she was practically out of it. So if anyone here has ever been so fucking drunk that you passed out, she was like 1 degree above passing out. She was so fucking inebriated and a little bit high that one could say she was in some ways out of her body. Now that's going to also compound the fact that she's not entirely sure what had happened to her. Now she had also at this time allowed me to have seen what had happened when she had gone above deck through her own perspective. It was fucking hella confusing. Now, first and foremost, it felt like being underwater. Because, you know, sometimes like if you're underwater and you're looking at something, like it's not the way you look at things when you're not underwater. Like there's ripples and like you can't, things don't look, like this was literally what it was like. She didn't have a clear conceptual understanding of where she was. She didn't know like what floor she was on, who she was with. She was really out of it. Again, she was 1 peg above being blackout drunk. That's how inebriated and high she was that night. So from her own perspective, me looking at what had happened that night through the lens of her own remembrance was very disorienting. Like, first of all, I wasn't even on the ship. I couldn't tell you because I wasn't there. Like, what floor was she? She had no fucking clue. Everything was just like a mishmash. Like, imagine like a watercolor painting, and all the paint it gets wet, and all of the paint starts to melt, and it turns into like just this mishmash of colors, and you can't see what it used to be. That was literally what it was like for her. So she had drank with them, even though she doesn't know who them was, some more, and that was a mistake. Because she had become so drunk, she was practically out of it. Therefore, she had to be helped down to someone's cabin. Now, she was also so fucking inebriated, she didn't know what number cabin her family was staying in. So they took her back down to their own cabin. And she had shared with me, she was there for some time. While they had gone back up above deck to get breakfast, and they had left her alone. Now, interestingly enough, this is going to line up with what was said about the last person to have seen her alive. What was his name? Alistair Douglas. He was seen with her above deck at like 5:30 a.m. and then he was seen alone at 6 a.m. Kind of actually lines up with this, that he had taken her down to his cabin because she didn't know where her cabin was. Again, she was one peg above being blackout drunk, and then he had gone above deck, and he had left her alone. She was out on the deck now and feeling sicker than ever. That's all she remembers. After that, she was out of her body and looking at herself as her body was in the sea. She doesn't think anyone had anything to do with her going overboard because the people she was with had expressed concern for her welfare. They'd even gone to get food for her to help her sober up, and assumes when they had gotten back, they had thought she had gone back to her cabin and didn't think anything of it. She did, according to her own energy, go overboard, but it was on a different side of the ship and a different time altogether, where it was thought that she did go overboard if she had gone overboard from her parents' cabin. Different part of the ship. Thank you, universe, for punctuating that. Different part of the ship, different time. For all we know, the search crew was looking in the wrong area altogether. So it's possible they looked, but where they were looking was in the wrong place altogether. So that, I think I actually connected, yeah, I did connect to her energy a little bit later on. I'm going to pause here because then I'm going to give you my own intuitive interpretation into this Alistair Douglas character. And then we're going to go back to Amy's energy itself. But I'm going to pause. I'm going to let you guys digest that information, and I'm going to catch up on your comments, and then I'm going to come back to this. Yes, abundantly empowered, blackout inebriated, correct. Lisa, was her drink spiked and she was drugged? She doesn't know that. But here's the thing, if her drink was spiked and she was drugged, to what effect? Like, was it to do something with her, but that it couldn't have been done with her because when they got back to the cabin, she was gone? It's possible, she just doesn't know that. Chava, who is this about? Got here late. Hi, honey, we're talking, yes, thank you, Lisa. We're talking about Amy Lynn Bradley. Abundantly empowered. Maybe she felt sick, needed to vomit, and leaned over the ledge. I think that's exactly what had happened to her. Because she said she was out on the deck now and feeling sicker than ever. And that was the last thing she remembered. And then after that, she was out of her body looking at herself. Lisa Sims, it's, oopsies, it sounds like she was in accident and didn't know. Yes, that's exactly what I thought so. Thank you, Chava, for the shout out. Please give a thumbs up, guys, and if you're new here, please subscribe. Okay, now, this was at the time that I had taken a break from her energy. It actually seemed like on a soul level, she was mourning at this point. So I took like a respectful step back. You know, it's like holding space for a person, not like badgering them, like, tell me more, tell me. It was like, I'm going to give you a moment to collect, and I'm going to go look into something else, which is this alleged connection to a band member by the name of Alistair Douglas, that a polygraph test was given to him, which was inconclusive, and that allegedly he was seen with her on the island of Curacao sometime later. Okay, so I had looked into his energy. Now, when looking into the energy of Alistair Douglas, who some have said could have been involved in her disappearance, there's a lot of fear and anxiety around him. But, because my place. But I don't think it's because he's involved. This is my own 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever percent we're up to of personal opinion sharing. This is my personal opinion. I don't think he was involved. It's possible it was his room she was in, but he would pass a lie detector test because he wasn't involved. But the anxiety could be because she was in his room, and he fears he had left a very drunk woman alone in his room, and then she was gone. And then he finds out she's missing, and he's wondering to himself, was he negligent in leaving her alone in his cabin? And that's why maybe she had gone overboard, and maybe that's why she had disappeared. So my personal opinion is the reason he has fear and anxiety around him is because he fears that he was negligent. And it was his negligence that led to her being out of her body. But this is conjecture on my part, and I actually did write that. But whether it was his room or someone else's room, she was in it. She had shown me she was in somebody else's cabin because she was so inebriated she didn't know where her family's cabin was any longer. I'm also going to share with you, I do not see her going overboard in her own room because, again, I remind you, she allowed me to see what she saw through her own remembrance, and I had followed her energy around the ship. She did at some point go above board. She did again at some point go down into somebody else's cabin, and then she was gone. And by Amy's own words, she was looking at her body as it laid down in the bottom of the sea. And when somebody's energy comes into me and shares this, I don't take it lightly, right? This is not like Madonna, whose energy was like, you want to look at my world, I'm going to be the fucking tour guide, and you're going to see it through the lens of what I want you to know. This is not that. This is not a Halle Berry energy that chased me away. This is somebody that was open and honest and introspective and shared with me what, to the best of her recollection, had happened, and I don't have any reason to disbelieve her energy. And now there is so much noise and conjecture that Amy's energy had shared with me. She wonders if the truth will ever come out, or if the truth will ever even be accepted. Because again, I didn't see the Netflix documentary. What were they pushing on the documentary? Were they pushing the narrative that she had gone overboard, or were they pushing the narrative that she was put into trafficking? I didn't see it. Please let me know in the comments, those of you that did. I don't know. But again, by her own words, there's so much noise. Is the truth ever going to be accepted? Because her family willfully turns a blind eye, and the world is all too happy to have another mystery to unpack. Sometimes she just wishes it wasn't hers. That is what I have for you on the energy reading into Amy Lynn Bradley. Again, I'm going to give you guys a moment to absorb that, and then we can explore your questions and some other themes that had come in. Now, I'm also just going to share with you that I was asked for previous AMA if cruise ships are used for trafficking. Okay? I'm going to find that page and I'm going to share with you, here we go, I just found it, what had come in, because it directly correlates to the story of Amy Lynn Bradley. So here we go. I was asked, and I shared this in a previous AMA, but it's apropos, so we're going to share it again. Are cruise ships used for trafficking? This is what had been shown to me. No. Because simply put, it's too much work and too much high risk to do so. Typically, but not of course always, someone on a cruise ship are wealthy or wealthier. And when a wealthy person disappears from a cruise ship, it can cause all sorts of diplomatic relations nightmares. And the missing person is too high profile to successfully use in trafficking. And I had used Amy Lynn Bradley as an example. I said, just look at Amy Lynn Bradley. She's missing and it is so over the top. She's like napalm at this point. Do you think after this documentary had come out, there was any person in their right mind that would choose to engage in some form of sexual intercourse with her if it was non-consensual, knowing how big this case is? Think about it, guys. And sadly, truly sadly, there is no shortage of missing people from any one country or any one continent to feed into the trafficking supply. So no, cruise liners and their passengers are not at risk for trafficking. Okay. Now I'm going to allow you guys to digest that. I'm going to catch up on comments, and then if you guys want to hear why different readers could both be... I actually think it's fascinating when I had said, because I know there's a lot of people that got different things, and I was like, well, this is what I got. How can I get this and how can they get that? Is there an objective reality? And if it is, how can I in good consciousness share something that is not factually correct? I would never do that to want to intentionally deceive you guys. So I had to take a really big step back and be like, how can I share this? Because first and foremost, Amy's own energy had shared with me, there is so much noise around this case that she doesn't even know if her parents crossed over and saw her on the other side, if they would even believe it. As in, there is so much momentum that has been developed. And she had also said at the end, she just wishes that the noise and the mystery that the universe is all too, the world is all too excited because of a Netflix series to unpack and try to explore what had happened. She wishes it wasn't her that they were looking into. That's another reason I took a big, when did I even channel this? I will tell you, I will find the page again. I took a big step back and I had to do some serious soul searching and exploring, did I even want to share this story based on what she had said, which is she wishes there wasn't so much noise around her, right? Ultimately, I thought if it's going to bring comfort or clarity, I would share it, which is why I am sharing it. But also, it brought up all of these questions about how can I in good consciousness share something? How do I know if what I'm sharing is the truth, right? So I had to sit down and I had to commune with my guides, and I was like, I need some clarity here. This case actually more than anyone affected me to that point where I was like, I need to know. Am I going to be unintentionally deceiving people because this is what came in for me, but I know other people got other things. How can I in good faith share that? I channeled this back in July, guys, the end of July. How many months have passed? At least 3, right? That was 3 months of some serious fucking soul searching. How can I share this? Let me catch up on comments. I'm sorry, I missed so many comments, guys. I'm sorry. Lisa, yes, she was young and on vacation. Kristen, hello, beautiful fam. Hello, you beautiful soul. Abundantly empowered. Maybe it's his own guilty conscience. for leaving her alone. That was my interpretation as well. So tragic. Got to be careful partying on cruise ships. I would not go on a cruise ship. Not if I was planning on partying, and definitely not with like a young child or an elderly person either. You could not pay me enough to take Pip on a cruise ship. Absolutely fucking not. Lisa, I wondered about him, but I probably would feel the same, but it sounds like he was innocent and just didn't know what to do in that moment. Abundantly empowered. LOL, Madge is so controlling. She really was, by the way. Lucky, trafficking. Michelle, the latter, she was taken off the boat to be trafficked. Okay, so that's what the documentary had said, right? So they're pushing this narrative in one way to make it like more of a mystery. I mean, need I say more? Hello, Googorine. Lisa, I saw a little bit, but it was that she disappeared because someone took her and maybe sold her into trafficking. I mean, again, my opinion, that's irresponsible reporting. Like, I'm sorry, it is literally, in my opinion, irresponsible. They're only taking one point and they're only pushing like one approved idea of what had happened to her. That is, first of all, just like I don't know what happened to her, they don't know what happened to her. So they don't seem to have any like guilty conscience. Like, can we share this like in good faith? Abundantly empowered. I feel sad for Amy's brother too. He probably blames himself as well. That's sad. Steve, if they use space programs, they must use cruise ships. No, LOL. High risk, low tide. Very clever. This is my only channel. I love being wrong. Lisa, I do feel really bad for Amy and her family because they are in deep mourning to the point that they can't accept that she is truly gone. I mean, that was her conclusion as well. Steve, shipping containers are different. Lisa, I want to know. I will share it. Michelle, I hope she crosses over, and she did say she is getting ready to actually cross over. I hope she crosses over and her soul processes and she moves on. There is still so much she can do if she completes the journey. Abundantly empowered. Same at Michelle. May her soul cross over and leave this all behind. Steve, give good faith. Excellent. Lisa, thanks for sharing, Faye. I just wanted clarity on what happened to her. Jamie, why would they say they sold her though? It makes a more compelling story. Like, why would they be making a documentary about a woman that was inebriated and she fell overboard? That's not like sexy. That's not compelling. Oh, but her being taken off the ship and being sold into trafficking? Ooh, compelling. Ooh, sexy. Ooh, mystery. That's, I think, why they said that. Oh, love the handle. Fairy Waters. The ship was already docked when she went missing. Why wasn't her body found? No, I don't think so. It was when it was still actual. First of all, I don't look. I'm not a fucking sailor. I don't know anything about like the tides and the way these tides, low tide, high tide. I don't know. Maybe fucking sharks in the water. I mean, there's a million different variables for why her remains were never found. Look at it also this way. Natalie Holloway remains were never found. And when I had looked into Natalie Holloway, oh fuck, Mercury is retrograde, that's why. When I had looked into Natalie Holloway, right, her body was pushed into the water close to the shoreline. They still haven't found her remains, have they? And it's all of these years later. There's so many variables that we can't take into account. Steve, you talk like one. I think you mean I curse like a sailor. I don't fucking talk like a sailor. Michelle, I think it was between ports, like in transit. Lisa, so her body might still be in the middle of the ocean. Wow. Or maybe a critter ate it. I don't know. Jamie, my point exactly. All right, now here. All right, there's things that I'm good at and there's things that I'm not good at. that. I'm good at cursing like a sailor. I'm not good at talking like a sailor because I don't fucking know the first thing about high tide, low tide, tide at all, what critters were in the water there. I'm good at interpreting energy and doing post-cognitive energy reading. I'm also good at writing. So I'm going to share with you guys, and by the way, if you're not here for this, feel free to tune out. I won't get offended, not even a little bit. But I will, because again, I think it's interesting, share with you, when I had sat down and communed with my guides, how can I be getting this and someone else can be getting something else altogether? How? And I will share with you what was shared with me. This is a blog post. It lives on my blog. I'm proud of it because, well, frankly, I'm just proud of my writing. That's why. But I'm also proud of it because when I had sat down to commune with my guides, what they shared with me made sense. So if you are confused how different readers could get different things and how we could potentially both be right, here's how. So how two psychics can see two different truths and both be right. Again, not because I'm concerned that I'm wrong, so I had to justify how I could be right. I don't have any ego. I don't have any how does the expression go? I don't have any dog in the race or any pony in the race. I don't know Amy Lynn Bradley personally. No reader gets it right all the time. It's just not, I know you guys love me and I know you guys believe in me. It's just not possible. And here's why. How we don't get it right all the time, but also how we can be right and we can be wrong at the same time. Because that's actually what this is about. So how two psychics can see two different truths and both be right. And I might have to amend it and put in parentheses and also both be wrong. So here we go. If you have ever compared psychic readings and noticed how two intuitive channels can describe the same situation in completely different ways, you're not alone. It can be confusing, even unsettling, especially when both readers feel accurate in their own way. So how can two intuitives tune into the same energy and walk away with completely different readings? The short answer is reality is layered and consciousness is a prism. Now, a quick note before diving in. I want to be clear that I am not claiming that any of my readings are right or that another reader is wrong. This post explores how two psychics can both be right even when their readings differ. I am going to amend this to say both be right and also both be wrong. Still, no reader, myself included, gets every detail perfectly accurate every time. Energy work is nuanced, and we all perceive information through our own filters and interpretations, which are inherently fallible. So, point number one, the multiverse of energy. When psychics or intuitives tune into a case, person, or event, we're not just accessing a single moment in time. We're tapping into energetic fields that hold many versions of what has been, what is, and what could be. Think of it like being part of a book club, I would know. You haven't finished the book yet, but you still show up to the meetings. As everyone shares their thoughts, some start talking about plot twists or revelations from chapters you haven't reached yet. It's still the same book. You're just in a different place of the story. Now imagine that same author releases a new edition. Same story, but with a few bonus chapters added. Someone in the group has that version. And as they share insights, the conversation shifts because they're reading from the expanded edition. The main plot hasn't changed, but there's new information woven in. Energy reading is a lot like that. One reader might be tuning into the first edition of someone's timeline, while another picks up on the expanded edition. It's the same core truth, but with added layers or outcomes. Both readings are valid because energy reading is nuanced and layered. They're just coming from different coordinates within the same multidimensional story. Point number 2, the frequency of the reader. Every psychic vibrates at their own frequency. The guides we connect with are energetic matches for that vibration, and everything we receive filters through our personal lens. Our experiences, beliefs, emotional range, and special sauce, so to speak. People often ask why some readers interpret energy through a darker lens, while others radiate messages of light, love, and healing. I put that in because I think it's funny. Light, love, and healing. Hold on, I lost my place now. It doesn't mean one is right and the other is wrong. It just means they're tuned to different stations, and the station they tune to, let me try that again. It just means they're tuned to different stations, and the station they tune to determines the information they receive. It's like one person tuning their radio to 92.7 and another to 100.3. It's still music, but one's listening to rock and the other to pop. Each of us channels from the frequency we're living in. If we're moving through shadow, we read through shadow. If we're outside in the sun, we see the same, but illuminated. Energy doesn't lie, it just mirrors where we are. What makes each reader unique isn't the information itself, but the frequency and perspective it passes through on its way to you. And as I've shared before, there's an audience for all of it. Point number 3, the reader's capacity and timing. When two psychics receive opposing information, it's not always about who's right or wrong, but it's about what spirit allows each of them to access in that moment. Just as my own gifts have evolved over time, I often suggest new viewers start with my earlier work before exploring my more recent sessions. My channeling opened gradually, and my ability to interpret higher frequencies and to see more expanded as I did. Had those higher energies come through earlier, it would have been like sending too much voltage through a small power line, and the connection would have short-circuited. This isn't a comparison or criticism of other readers, it's simply how spiritual growth works. Our intuitive capacity adjusts to meet the level of awareness we can sustain. Spirit never overloads us, it calibrates to our readiness. It's not a limitation, it's divine pacing, a safeguard. Because what we're able to receive and share always aligns with where we are in our evolution, and that timing is always perfect. Just as there's divine pacing in what a reader can access, there's also freedom in what a soul itself chooses to experience. Now, I'm just going to close the window shade over here before I read the next point to you guys. Because that glare was making it hella hard for me to actually see a damn thing. Okay, the next point. The soul's choice and the fluidity of fate. In the energetic realm, energy is fluid, and therefore there are no absolutes, not even destiny, so-called destiny. Every soul comes into this life with themes, lessons, and experiences it intends to explore, or what we often call soul contracts. But intention is not obligation. That's why I always tell you free will reigns supreme. Here we go, I said it. Free will reigns supreme, and it acts as the wild card that allows a soul to edit, rewrite, or even skip entire chapters. So when two psychics receive conflicting messages, it's not necessarily a contradiction, but it may simply reflect where that soul is in its own decision-making process. One reader might tune into the original soul plan, the intended storyline, while another connects to the revised version and the path that free will has since created. Both are true in their own right. Thank you, universe, like a big old fucking exclamation point. One is the contract and the other is the choice. From the soul's perspective, time isn't linear. The future is a field of possibilities, each shaped by the frequency of our own current awareness. And the higher our consciousness rises, the more options the soul has to play with. In that way, no outcome is fixed. Next point, collective energy and the spectrum of truth. This is a big one. There's another force that rarely gets talked about but holds enormous influence. Collective projection. When the public becomes emotionally invested in a story, especially after a Netflix documentary reignites it, millions of minds pour energy into one shared narrative. That perspective builds density and starts to feel alive, and that attention creates energetic ripples. Psychics and empaths are sensitive to that current. So when enough people believe, for example, that Amy Lynn Bradley was trafficked, that version of her story vibrates with intensity. A reader tuning in might genuinely feel her there, not because it's wrong, but because collective emotion has animated that version. It's Loosh breathing life into it. Energy is responsive to focus and attention, and in a multidimensional universe, truth isn't fixed, it's prismatic. It blends and refracts light like through glass. Two readers can connect to the same soul and perceive different realities. One might tune into the echo of a life force, small but still lingering and responsive. Another might connect to the higher essence that's already crossed over. Both are reading truth, just from different vantage points. One from the echo, one from the essence, one from the collective field, one from the souls. That's why discernment matters for both an energy reader, a tarot reader, an intuitive, or whatever, and for a viewer. As a reader, I ask myself, which field am I tuning into? The soul, the echo, or the projection? As a viewer, it's worth asking, do I resist this message because it feels untrue? Or because it doesn't match the outcome I hoped to hear? When we step back and allow these perspectives to coexist, we start to see what's really happening. Each reading, each belief, each interpretation all refract the same light through different crystals. And that's where the magic happens. When we stop searching for a single truth and start honoring the full spectrum of it. Closing reflection. So when two psychics deliver very different readings, it's not a contradiction. It's the continuation of the same conversation between timelines, frequencies, and filters. Sometimes spirit withholds one clear answer, not to confuse us, but to expand our perception. Certainty can be comforting, but it can also close the door on possibility. Spirit often invites us to sit inside the in-between spaces, the mystery, because that's where our intuition comes online. In those moments, we're asked to let go of the need to know and instead learn how to feel truth as it moves through us. That's why I said at the beginning, don't abdicate your inner knowing to me or any other reading. Listen to yourself, your own inner knowing first and foremost. The next time you hear differing messages, think of them as pieces of a mosaic. And when you hold these fragments up to the light, they all reveal the same truth. Consciousness experiencing itself through you. And that's really what all of this is. Spirit exploring itself through your eyes. The reading, the message, the mystery, it's all the universe meeting itself in different mirrors, reminding you that even the differing reflections are part of the same light. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it made sense to you. And I hope you can understand why I chose to look into Amy's energy, but with that blog post. Now I'm going to catch up on comments. I missed a lot of comments. I'm sorry, guys. I tend to run behind on comments, but I will never leave anybody hanging. Fairy Waters. Also, Faye, would you look into Taylor Casey? She went missing from a yoga retreat, that's dark, in the Bahamas. She was an acquaintance of mine, but a close friend of many in my community in Chicago. I will write her name down and I will add it to the list, okay, darling? Taylor Casey. Okay. Sherry, just saw you on. Hi to all. Glad you caught us, honey. Steve, so you don't enjoy scuba diving? I don't think I've... By the way, I've never gone scuba diving. And after I saw that movie, I forgot what it was called, but those two people that disappeared from a scuba diving, whatever you call it, like expedition, I will never go scuba diving. It's like one of those things you couldn't pay me enough to do. I value my life too much. Franca, thank you, Faye, for sharing this. You are most welcome. Franca, why were her pictures missing from the cruise ship? I don't think they were. I don't think there were pictures of her. Jamie, thank you, Faye. Love you so much. Right back at you, honey. Abundantly Empowered. Also curious about the missing Vatican girl. Also a Netflix series. I'm thinking it's a dark one. What's her name? Franca, will she help have her... I think you mean her body found. She doesn't have any level of attachment. I think, she said she's ready to go over onto the other side. Jamie, okay, Faye. She's providing right multiple times. It's so mind-blowing. Abundantly Empowered. There are many interpretations of a single event. That is truth. Franca, I find this fascinating. Sloan Bella did a video on her and said she was targeted, trafficked, and still alive, stuck on an island. That's through, oh, here we go. Also, Alistair's daughter said her mom, hold on, I'm going to break that down. Readers see things through their own vibration. Abundantly empowered. Wow, so true. So many potentialities. At Franca, maybe there's a timeline where that happened. Franca, also, Alistair's daughter said her mom told her when she came home from that cruise, he had a suitcase full of photos of women. This is why they were saying he was involved in trafficking. Is his, just curious, if anybody knows if Alistair Douglas was at the time this happened, was he married to this woman or was he divorced from her? Or did they divorce at a later date? I mean, just asking questions. Chava Bodhi, some energy readers are experts and some are novices. So let's look at it again through the degree of information that they themselves can hold. You go back, and again, I put this in the blog post for a reason. You go back, anyone new that comes in, I'm like, start at the beginning. You don't have to watch all of my videos. Go back to the beginning and then work your way up and watch videos, even if it's just the ones that interest you, because you are basically expanding with me. I am channeling at a much deeper level now than I ever did in the beginning because I wouldn't have been able to handle it back then. That's why the information grows and it becomes more robust and it expands. So, I mean, what you're saying is true, but it's kind of look at it. What can the channeler or what can the reader handle? If I looked into this case, let's say I was a beginner now, I probably would have gotten something completely different. When I had looked into, perfect example, years ago, I was asked to look into the Delphi unaliving case, right? What came in at that time, I was getting bits and pieces, not a complete cohesive story. What had come in at that time was I saw a large group of people were there when the girls were unalived, and I couldn't understand for the life of me what was being shown. I was like, I don't fucking get it. But I don't know why these people were there. It didn't make sense to me, right? So I didn't talk about it because I didn't get it myself. Fast forward to now, this year, when I released a video on it, because my channeling had come so far, and I had been so many other pieces to make sense of what I had seen back then, right? At that time, my guides had deemed I was ready to just understand or know that there were other people that were there, and it wasn't like some random targeting, right? But then in the years in between, I came to learn about the club, I came to learn about the Freemasons, I came to understand false flags. So that way, when I came back to Delphi and I looked into it, I had all of these new pieces in the puzzle that built out a very, very different story. And it made a lot more sense than what I had been shown years ago. So we grow and we develop as readers, and our abilities grow and expand as well. Franca, I hope there is closure for her family and that her remains are found. I believe she has passed as well. Thank you, Faye, for sharing this info with us. Thank you, Franca, for being so, I mean, it's not like you could have come here and like twisted my arm to do the reading any sooner, but I know that you have been incredibly patient and I appreciate that. Chava, if Alistair has a mom like mine, she would lie for $1,000. There you go. Abundantly empowered, 22 people in the house. What house are we talking about? Sherry, yes, I had a 22 card collective read. I ran into that and I felt it was like my story up to where I knew I was currently at. It was, yeah, that happened up to that's where I'm at. Somebody else has just started. Steve, the fluidity of fate sounds dope, and it's true. Jamie, do you all see what's on the upper right screen? I don't. What was that? Maybe an orb? I don't know. I sometimes get orbs floating around. And you guys have called it out before, so it might have been an orb, Jamie. Steve, Slamboree up in horror. Sherry, what jaded? I wasn't looking. Lisa, was it part of her life contract for this to happen to her? Yeah. She came here knowing that she actually bought herself another year. She came here thinking she was going to cross over at 22. She got another year out of her life through free will choices. Steve, I missed it too, Jamie. What you see? Something up in a tree? Jamie, strange. Maybe it was me. Almost looked dove-like or just fluff. It could have just been like fluff floating around. Steve, fluffy dove? I wouldn't mind having a fluffy... No birds for me. Fairy Waters, beautifully written, Faye. The public perception energetically altered what is picked up on psychically makes so much sense. I'm glad that resonated. No, I don't think anyone saw it, Jamie. I'm sorry. Steve, ooh, so whatever we believe in becomes... Yeah, that's kind of one way of looking at it, actually. And especially the more momentum that there is behind something. Definitely. Steve, yes, discernment or what is permitted to come through. Abundantly empowered. Yes, discernment is learning what resonates and what doesn't. Thank you, Cindy, for the heart, honey. Steve, LOL, you said mystery as I was typing it. I love that. Hi, Ajira, darling. I'm glad you're here. Muffy, prayers for a blessed evening to all. Thank you so much, Muffy. Abundantly empowered. Truth is fluid and ever evolving. Right when we think we know something, it changes. We can't pin it down. Definitely, specifically when you're doing any sort of work like this, that is so true. Because as we evolve as readers, the information evolves as well. Steve, keeping the mystery alive without negating what is true or spoiling the discovery. Franca, beautifully written, Faye. Thank you. Thank you for saying so. Steve, high five, Faye. Right back at you, baby. Lisa, yes, I understand now and know more than I did before. Thanks. That's the idea. I'm glad for that. Thank you. Abundantly empowered, 333. Steve, 1113-333. Abundantly empowered. The missing Vatican girl's name is Emmanuel Orlandi. Ooh, she's not with us anymore. I mean, I'll write her name down to see what comes in. She's not with us. She was kept alive for some time, but she's not with us any longer. Emanuela Orlandi. My members that have seen the video on the Vatican, you can probably piece together what happened to her. Lucky, your reading on Amy is diametrically opposed to any other reader I have heard. Basically meaning, just Sloan Bella, I can't even correlate to being even a misunderstanding. And I'm going to share with you guys, I did serious. Like this is Jupiter in the 12th house. I had to do serious soul searching before I could ever feel like I could come on here and share with you guys what had come in. The worst thing that I as a reader could do, an ethical reader, right? If I was unethical, I wouldn't care if I was misleading you guys. But as an ethical reader, the worst thing I could do is unintentionally share a mistruth with you. I had to do serious soul searching. How could I come... Guys, I don't watch other readers. But just because I don't watch them doesn't mean that I don't hear what other people have said. So I knew that my reading was different and I didn't want to come on here. And especially if she was still alive, to come on and put out information or an energy into the world that she wasn't, I didn't feel confident or comfortable doing that. I needed to, like, I literally had like a come to Jesus moment with my guides. Like, how can I share this? Sat down, meditated, had a conversation. They shared this with me and I was like, you know what? I feel okay sharing this now. Franca, at the time he was in a relationship with that woman. At the time, but no longer, right? When did this woman that he had been in a relationship with say this? When they were in a relationship or after they broke up from the relationship? Franca, I hope this case is solved. It's almost 30 years. Crazy. Steve, energy reading isn't always as simple as some people like. Faye makes it look. I mean, one has to learn somehow. If someone is trying, it still says a lot. Always being aligned, but maybe not polished. That's well said. That's why Faye deserves the big bucks. Or the grand life. Thank you. I'll take 10,000 subs. Like, I'll take a fraction of what Sloan Bella has. I'll take a fraction. Thank you for the floating heart, Cindy. Iron, now it is clear why so many true crime cases have huge teams doing PR, literally creating a narrative as a possible interpretation. You got it, Iron. And doesn't it make a compelling, sexy story to think that she was trafficked? It's not so compelling. It's not so sexy. She fell overboard. But trafficked? Steve, she's only 10 minutes behind, folks. Hang in there. She catches up on comments. Thank you, Steve. Cindy, thank you, Faye. I feel at peace with her passing, listening to you, hoping her family finds peace and closure. Thank you for saying that. Franca, I trust the info you share with us. You always have the best videos. Thank you for saying so, Franca. I really appreciate it. Lucky, see, this is why I respect you and your guides. You're the truth in my personal opinion. You make it all make sense, if that makes sense. I try to. I really do try to. Abundantly empowered. Truth over confirmation bias. That's it. That's that. Above all, guys, I am a truth seeker. And I try to be a truth speaker. If I found out that I was wrong, I would immediately come forward. I would own it. And I would say, I was wrong. Above all, I seek the truth in everyday life, and I speak the truth in everyday life. And I hope that you guys know that. I don't want to be told that I'm right if I'm wrong. I don't want to live in an echo chamber. I want to grow. I want to expand. I want to evolve. Franca, I think that woman said it after they broke up. To me, that says everything. Hello, Donna. This is why we love your brutal honesty. Thank you for saying so, Donna. Cindy, sorry, Faye, I pushed the button too fast. I didn't finish it, but I hope you got my point. I definitely did. Franca, does her brother really believe she's still alive? He's gotten swept up in it also. Like, what did Amy's energy share? Like, her parents changed. And I think her brother got swept up in all of the attention that was directed at the family. Now, here's also the thing. It's not going to make a very compelling case if the family is not all on the same side, right? So, like, if the documentary was made and the parents believed that she was alive, but the brother didn't, that would be, I think, too confusing for the viewer. It would fracture trust in the narrative that was being promoted by the Netflix documentary. So he has to be on the same page as them. But I think also he really got swept up in it. Villain, LOL, no, but you have brought enough truth forever that it speaks for itself. Your intent is clear by your body of work. Thank you. Lucky, I tell the truth every day and people don't like that. You know, I'm going to share with you guys. I've been going through it. Jupiter is transiting my 12th house. We have 5 planets in retrograde right now. I have been going through it and really came to see and understand how many people live in denial. Is it raining? No, not yet, but it's going to start later. How many people live in denial? How many people live in a false construct? How many people would prefer to numb themselves out? It is a rare person that wants to tell the truth, and it's even a rarer person that wants to hear it. So Lucky, you're a rare person that's a truth teller, and you are encountering contrast because you're encountering an incongruent energy in people don't want to hear what it is that you have to say. But that's contrast, and it's uncomfortable, but it's okay because it's designed for us. It doesn't happen to us, it happens for us so that we can grow. So that way you know what it feels like to be around people that don't want to hear the truth versus people that want to hear the truth. And your body is going to resonate with one over the other one. Sherry, truth tellers have it hard sometimes. Been there. We do. Thank you again, universe. We really do. Think about how many people are confronted with the truth and they don't want to hear it. Have you yourself not tried to wake some people up over the last few years for it to go nowhere? It's easier to remain asleep and numb and tuned out and zoned out than to face the truth of ourselves. That we could be deceived by what's going on in the world. That we didn't know, but other people know, and other people tried to tell us, but we didn't want to hear it. There's a reason people are remaining willfully asleep. Sherry, got me scapegoated, black sheeped in my life until I accepted it. Honey, you are not the black sheep. You're the spiritual goat of your family. Abundantly empowered. So many prefer their paradigm kept intact, even when it's toxic and distorted. They don't want to see it. Very true. Fairy Waters, it's so important to check our biases. Appreciate you taking your time and finding the truth. And guys, seriously. You want to know that I check my truth? I check my energy and I check myself. As a reader, I ask myself from my blog post, which field am I tuning into? The soul, the echo, or the projection? I don't want to be right. I just want to share the truth. I don't need to be right, and that is the truth. Iron, a large part of becoming an adult is developing the taste for nonconformity in a non-damaging way. That is well said. And I think a large part of it also is accepting ourselves, even if other people don't accept us, and loving ourselves, even if we feel like we are not loved by other people. So it's taking self-ownership over our own feelings versus needing external validation for how we feel. Steve, ooh, the taste of irony, healthy non-compliance. I do like me some healthy non-compliance. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna consciously hydrate, and then I got some more. Not on this case, but in general. I can stay on for about 30 more minutes, and then I gotta bounce. So I'm here, as you guys know, I live in service to humanity. If you guys wanna hang out for a little bit now, I will stick around. If you guys are like, cool, I got what I needed today, I wanna bounce, I'm okay with that also. Keep in mind, I'm still going live tomorrow for our usual Friday night live and hangout. Just because I came live today doesn't mean I'm not going to go live tomorrow. Different topics, different energy. Franca, are there other upcoming videos you will be posting? I don't know if I'm going to be posting videos or doing lives like this, but I have a lot of channeled content that I could create for you guys. I'm just a little over. Here's the thing, there's one video that I need to create for you guys because there's a lot of supplemental information that I need to share by way of images. That's on gender inversions. But other topics that I could look in, that I have already channeled, that I can create content or go live on. RFK Jr. I did Summer Wells. D.B. Cooper. Nelson Mandela. Shakespeare and Ernest Hemingway and John O'Keefe. Oh, I almost forgot. You guys are going to want to hear this. I just channeled her last night. I need to write her down so I don't forget about her. Do you guys know who I channeled last night? You guys are going to be like, fuck your list, Faye. Do her now. Erica Kirk. Why is she so unlikable? Why do so many people not resonate with her? Oh yeah, I went there. I went there. Abundantly empowered. At Iron, I feel like we are collectively outgrowing groupthink and learning to trust ourselves, hopefully. Iron, perhaps the start of any session could start by asking oneself, what are my biases that may affect this reading? Excellent. Now, that is in part why I don't do any 3D research prior to looking into a topic energetically. I don't want to be influenced by what I know about the case, because that could skew the results of the energy reading, or it could make me question. And then I don't trust myself. Because let's say I had seen the documentary, the Netflix documentary, and it's banging around in my head that she was trafficked. And then I get this, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I could trust it because everyone says this. That's exactly why I don't look into any 3D research prior to doing any sort of a channeling session. Franca, thank you, Faye, for tonight's live stream. Looking forward to tomorrow's live stream. Me too. Steve, I have an important thingy at 4. I will catch you later on still. Thanks for this surprise and sharing your writing. You are most welcome, Steve. Thank you, honey. Jamie, was that a pocket in the Northern Lights? Hee, I'm curious. So what was shown to me, and why are the Northern Lights on my homepage of my website? That was one of the first things that was shown to me in meditation, which is it's a tear in reality, Jamie. All those beautiful pictures that you're sharing, that's a tear in reality. You are sharing a tear in the fabric of dimensions. That's why I'm so fucking jelly that you got them up there where you live, because you are literally seeing, look at it like it's a tear in the matrix. Fucking A, what I would give to be able to have 3D evidence of a tear in the matrix. Fuck. Steve, love you guys. Love you too, honey. Lucky, I can't wait. Jamie, DB Cooper, it's going to be a good one. But I actually recorded it, and then I was like, fuck, I don't want to edit this. Abundantly empowered, LOL. Now, please on I know, Erica, I can't wait for that one. I might have to bump it to the top of the list, honestly. Even though I wanted to do Nelson Mandela next. Jessica, 38 minutes. Erica Kirk. Sherry, John O'Keefe, interesting. He actually really was interesting. Yes. And he provided a lot of context that actually connects to other things that we've looked into as well. Because surprise, surprise, probably no surprise, we do not live in a vacuum and everything is connected. Lucky, HG Tudor has some fun things to say about Erica. Oh, fuck. I might, okay, now that I looked into her, I might go watch his content on her. Because again, I don't want to be influenced, but I already looked into her. So I'm curious to actually see if what came in on her lines up with what he has on her. Okay, you got my curiosity piqued. Jamie, hell yes. Erica Kirk, oh my God, Faye, you never disappoint. I'm back, guys. I took a month off from channeling because the amount of information I received when looking into Delphi, it kind of blew me out. So I needed to take a long break to integrate and recover. I'm back. Hold on. Hold on, I channeled 3 things last night. Who was it? Oh yeah, okay. So I channeled Erica Kirk and Lily Allen and David Harbour. So I'm back. Like if I'm channeling 3 different people and 3 different energies in one night, yeah, I'm back online. I don't need 2 pens in my hand right now. That was crazy. Kristen, the lights really are magic. They really are, by the way. Iron, Doctor Who had a much more boring looking tear in time and space. Abundantly empowered. There is, oh, thank you for the flower, abundantly empowered. There is just a glaring inauthenticity about Erica, and I think that's what people are picking up on. Kristen, living in, I think that's Arkansas, AK, right? Was so magical. There are light pillars, and one super cold night, the frozen fog was like glitter in the air. Holy fuck. That really does sound magical. Jamie, oh my lord, what? Wow. Aw, Faye, we love ya. Right back at you, I love you. And thank you for the flower, abundantly empowered. Oh my goodness, I caught up on comments. Go me. We have been on for exactly 2 hours. Very, very exciting. It's going to make doing timestamps very easy for the replay. Oh, Alaska. Oh, I bet it's magical. It's also not so populated. You know when someplace gets overpopulated, it really changes the energy and the vibe of a location? That's not the case with Alaska. So the energy there is probably closest to how it's always been. Not to say that it hasn't been altered at all, but to say that it's probably been less altered than, you know, like a place like Las Vegas or Dubai, which is very different than how it had Mercury in retrograde. Very different than how it had been all along. I got 18 of you in here. Do you all want to stay a little bit longer, or do we want to bounce? I can stay on for a max of 30 minutes, assuming Pip's not coming home any earlier. Lucky, I can't believe I'm saying, but I have to run. I'm actually going, good for you. That's going to raise your vibration. I don't have any objection to that, honey. I'm going to the gym. I can't believe it myself. Love you, girl, and thank you. I love you too. Thank you for joining us, honey. Jamie, yes, Kristen, I'm intrigued. Love you, Lucky. Be safe. All right, Lucky's gone. We're down to 15. Sherry, I'll stay, up to you. I mean, I can stay a little bit longer. I don't have any problem with that. Kristen, F Mercury in retrograde right now. My energy is so depleted right now. So again, we got 5 planets in retrograde. That is going, I wanted to come live yesterday. I could not. I was like dragging myself through the day. I was over caffeinated and still barely functioning. Very heavy energy right now. Very dense energy right now. Even if you don't have Jupiter transiting your 12th house right now, we are all, so many planets being retrograde, it's having us review so many things in our life. But to me, review also means renew, because at the end of it, we come out of it with more clarity. So I think we're going to be maybe tired, maybe max, I'm going to say, as we're integrating to the heavier, denser energy, maybe Saturday or Sunday. I think we should all start to feel a little bit better by next week. Or at least I hope so. Ashley, my energy has been draining this retrograde. It doesn't matter how much I sleep. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, it doesn't feel like I slept at all. Like I'm dragging my feet through the day. Really, really no energy. So I'm right there with you guys. This has got to be second to probably the energy of the eclipses, which knocked me on my ass. This is probably tied to that energy. Sherry, it feels like the end of a cycle to me. So true. Kristen, I have 0 videos up this week. The energy is very dense. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay. I have had periods of time also. I didn't get any content up. It's okay. The algorithm really is not going to punish you. If you have any energy, Kristen, what I would maybe advise doing, take long form and maybe make a couple of shorts out of it. So that way you at least are getting something up and getting something out, but it's not where you're pushing yourself to create long form content. Kristen, I could sleep forever. Yep. I have an app that monitors my cycle. I thought I was so tired. I was like, I don't think I'm due for my cycle, but I'm so tired. It feels like I am. I checked and I'm like, no, I'm not even due for it. Like I could not understand why I was so tired. It's because of the astrology right now, guys. We are all feeling it. By the way, if your digestion is also off, that's why as well. Totally normal. Kristen, and caffeine does nothing. This is what chronic fatigue feels like. I know because I occasionally have chronic fatigue. And people have said to me, I don't understand, just have another cup of coffee. And I'm like, no. Fatigue is not impacted by caffeine. I was really over caffeinated yesterday and I was still barely functional. So no, caffeine does nothing for this. This is an energetic depletion, that's why. Iron, 4 nights of only sleeping around 4 hours. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Used to sleep that though. That's very bad. Jamie, stay. I mean, I can stay until I have to leave to get Pep. Abundantly empowered. I also wake up exhausted. Maybe we're doing some work on the astral plane. Well, our body is doing a lot of processing. Our nervous system is doing a lot of processing. There's a lot that's going on in our bodies that we're not necessarily aware of, and it could definitely be things that are happening on the astral plane. Kristen, well, my cycles, oh God, so you're getting really, really impacted by this. I'm sorry, Kristen. Please rest as much as you need to. Abundantly empowered. All right, gotta go pick up my kiddos. Love you all. Bye, honey. Have a good rest of your evening. I'm about to start too, Kristen. Solidarity. I love it. We all stand together. Ashley, is there anything behind the veil on our cycles? I read somewhere that we are not supposed to get our cycles every month. No, I'm not getting that. I'm actually getting, because we as women are more intuitive. We're more connected to the astral plane and the astral realm. We're more cyclically linked to the cycles of the moon. And because of that, just like it's 28 days, usually our cycle is about 28 days, it's an emptying so that way we can renew. Really? Do y'all have to be so rude? Like, the horn is supposed to be used in case of emergency, not because you're a pissed off asshole. Clearly, someone out there is an asshole, miscorrectly using the horn. But no, I'm definitely getting that it's to empty us and it's to slow us down so that way we can renew with the new moon as well. Jamie, oh shit, Kristen, I'm so sorry. Oh my. You're really getting hammered this week. Sherry, I have chronic illness and felt that fatigue comment. So I can speak it because I do too. I have an autoimmune disease and one of the side effects of it is chronic fatigue. I've needed to literally take off days from work. And it's like I'm taking a personal day. They're not supposed to ask you why. This was years ago, not now. They're not supposed to ask you why. I was like, why? I'm like, I got fatigue today. Do you think that went over well? No, the response was have more caffeine. My response was fatigue doesn't respond to caffeine. And people in the matrix don't necessarily understand energetic depletion either. Kristen, I'm getting extra, you are getting extra whammied. LOL, resting as much as I can. Good. Do not feel guilty for it. You really need it right now, love. Iron, we need to be fertile for more of the time because our babies require so much care compared to other animals. It's true. Cindy, what is Pip interested in nowadays? He is such a smart boy. Does he have intuition like you? He does. He's also he's clear sentient. Like he could go into an environment and he could be like, the vibes are off here. That's clear sentience. He's definitely intuitive. I would say his biggest gifts are clairsentience, and he's definitely claircognizant. I think he has some clairvoyance. And he is definitely clairaudient. That's the one that I feel is taking the longest to develop in him, though. But he definitely, and here's also the thing. He's growing up in a household where this is not taboo. He understands it. He knows about it. He can ask me questions. So it's not like, when I grew up in the 80s, in the early 80s, and I had, these paranormal experiences, there was no internet. So there was no place my mom could just go and Google, my daughter thinks she sees dead people, you know what I mean? So I feel like he's at least getting, in many ways, I think as parents that's kind of what we do, he's getting the childhood I wished I had. With the awareness of these things, where it's not taboo, where it is understood, where he's thriving in the school he's in. Traditional school didn't work for me. So I know what it's like to be an out-of-the-box kind of a child, and therefore I put him in an out-of-the-box Montessori-inspired kind of school. So in many ways, he's getting the childhood I wished I had. And if at any point it doesn't work for him, that's okay. We pivot. We find something that does. It's not like I'm living vicariously through him, right? Like I'm giving him what I wanted, but I didn't have it, so now I have it through him. He has it because it works for him. And if it stops working at any point, we'll find something that does work for him. But it certainly seems to be working for him because we have a similar kind of sensibility, a similar disposition, and definitely a similar nature. Jamie, listen y'all, is it natural to want to smother your husband with a pillow? I couldn't help but notice how fucking loud he is. My God, who inhales the paint and curtains off the walls? My God. Well, I'm not married any longer. I cannot confirm nor deny if I ever felt the desire. But I'm not going to shame you for feeling that way. You do you, boo. Sherry, yes, if kids are in shutdown, it is great. Much better than our day. There's so much more awareness about it, and I love it because with that awareness can come so much more healing. Neurodivergency was always a thing. It was just less understood than it is now. So I think it's really wonderful how much more aware we are of neurodivergency. And even though many of us are going to look at, I don't know if I could say the word, autism. When somebody's on the spectrum, we could objectively look at it and say it's a tragedy for those kids and for the world as a whole. When I had looked into it, it was shown to me that they are our teachers. They came to teach us how to adapt to people that have different needs, and how to slow down, and how to be empathic, and how to understand that the world is so noisy, not just to somebody that's neurodivergent, but actually to all of us. And we are in fact dysregulated because of it. But we just keep on keeping on. So they actually, all of those souls agreed to come in and to teach us what it's like to be different. Because with that comes more empathy for us towards people that are different. They are in fact our biggest teachers. 15 more minutes, guys. You get me for 15 more minutes. Anything you want to ask, anything you want to say, go. I'm going to hydrate in the meantime. Because again, I don't do well with the blank spaces. Otherwise, I'm just going to literally sit here and fucking twiddle my thumbs, But I will share with you guys. Part of Jupiter in the 12th is a real excavation I'm doing a real excavation. It's different than a spiritual awakening, which is interesting because I think my spiritual awakening actually happened when Jupiter was transiting my 8th house. Now it's in my 12th house. But I had this major realization today, and I guess I'm feeling vulnerable. You guys give me so much more than I could ever give to you. You guys have healed me in ways that I didn't know that I needed to be healed. So I am eternally grateful for you guys. Not just because as I joke, or I like to joke, without you I'd be some weird chick on YouTube just like talking to myself. It's partially true, but that's me joking. You guys have healed me, and I just want you to know that. And you're not just like viewers to me. You're not just like a community to me. That's why I call you guys the Solar Flow fam, because you guys are my found family. You're not the family that I was born into, you're family that I chose, and that's really significant. And I love you guys. Jamie, no kids here, it's just him. He's just loud. Does he snore? Donna, when you're channeling people from the other side or here, do you hear their voices as if they were next to you talking? Great question. It's telepathic. It's like I'm hearing... This is the one that gets people labeled crazy, right? I hear voices in my head. No, but I do. It's like they're talking to me telepathically. This is also, by the way, why people shut down their telepathic gifts and abilities, because they think if they hear voices in their head, they're going to get labeled as crazy, right? There's a pill for that. The pill, all that does, it calcifies our pineal gland and it shuts down our psychic gifts and abilities. So when I am communing with somebody, it's telepathic. Chava, what's the real reason 5G towers were installed? So I looked into this once a long time ago. It was shown to me that it's a lower vibration, and it was designed to trap us, or attempt to anyway, because nothing can stop what's coming, right? And beyond nothing can stop what's coming, we are in a period of divine foretold timing of energetic expansion right now. So they're just basically trying to trap our energy and our consciousness in a lower vibration. It's not what they said it's for. Iron, I keep actively choosing to stay vulnerable. It serves me well. Thank you for sharing that. Kristen, I love our family. I really, really do too. You guys really are my found family. Jamie, haha, yes. I don't call it snoring. I think he's calling Sasquatch. He might be. He might be one of them. He's trying to communicate with his Sasquatch people. Corian Dixon, you are amazing. I can pay for another subscription when I can. Please do not ever feel like you are obligated to. You're here. You're part of the family. I don't need you to be a member to be part of the family. You're here. You're my family. The membership is a bonus, by the way, guys. It's the gravy on top. I don't need that from you guys. You guys give me so much more just by being here with me than anything. Sherry, is it where Jupiter? Is it about the 12th house? Well, for me, because I'm Leo rising, so right now Jupiter is transiting my 12th house. For somebody else, it's going to be transiting, thank you for the hearts, guys. For somebody else, it's going to be transiting a different part of their chart based on their rising sign. Ashley, I want to hang out with you all in person. Same! I want to do a retreat so fucking badly. I want to get together with you guys. I think the first place I want to go is Sedona, but then I want to do Roswell, New Mexico. I want to do Area 51. I think it would be amazing. We'll just, like, no one's going to sleep. We're all going to be sitting around just talking all night. It's going to be fucking amazing. But it's going to be more than that, because I've been thinking a lot about whatever, part of, I think, manifesting it into the world is not just like the desire. It's like, what does that look like, right? That's why I'm saying where I want to go. But I'm also in my mind imagining what it's going to look like. So it's not just going to be where we're going to go to these places and it's, just going to hang out. Part of that is going to be we're going to get to explore our gifts and abilities while we are there. What are we all feeling? What's the experience like? What downloads are you getting? What intuitive hits are you getting? What is the energy, the clairsentient energy of the environment sharing with you? It's going to include like group therapy, but not like therapy. And it's also going to include like one-on-one sessions. Whatever you guys want to work on, it's going to be amazing because part of bringing it into the world is knowing what it's going to look like. So when it comes, I'm going to be ready. So yes, Ashley, same girl, same. Corey and Dixon, I remember we talked about the real. Oh yes, honey, I remember that also. Yes. I've been trying. I've been, because I don't have the bandwidth to do long form editing any longer, but I've been playing around with short form. I have a lot more bandwidth for that, which is why I've been producing more shorts, not just shorts that I'm, taking from longs, but also like creating original content, like the latest one that I just released yesterday. Right? Love to Ashley for saying that. Chava Bodhi, why do they listen to everything? Who are we talking about? Korean, I'm obligated. Not at all, darling. Ashley, I have Jupiter in my 12th house natally in Libra. Oh my God. I have a feeling you know exactly what I'm going through right now. Sherry, okay, Jupiter is in my 7th. Wow. So that's the house of relationships. Not only romantic, any one-on-one relationship. So it could be a business partner, it could be a business manager, it could be a romantic partner, but it's anyone that you have a one-on-one relationship with. That is, now that Jupiter is also retrograde, that energy is under review. So you're getting to review what your one-on-one interpersonal relationships look like. So you can, if need be, you can revise them moving forward. Chava, who is really in charge of depopulation? Come on, take a guess. I think you know. Iron, too bad. I will not return to the States unless it changes a lot first. All of the anger and aggression in the air felt awful. I think it's going to be changing. I already feel, honestly, I feel like it's changing. Ashley, big relationship energy. Oh yeah. Fuck, 7th. Pluto moved into my 7th house this past year. That it's so rude. I'm sorry, it's so rude. But it's actually, I can feel myself transforming. I have been doing so much shadow work as it pertains to like my self-worth, boundaries, attachment style, looking into past relationships. It's doing what it's meant to do. So here's the thing, lately there's this expression that's banging around in my head and it makes a lot more sense this year. The unexamined life is not worth living. I think it is a blessing to have the opportunity to do shadow work and to unearth the deeply rooted erroneous beliefs that we have about ourselves and our patterns and our self-worth issues and our boundaries or lack thereof. And yeah, Pluto is doing what it is meant to do in my 7th house. That in tandem with Jupiter going through my 12th, wowza, is all I'm going to say. I have cried more times this week than I care to share with you guys. Purging. Lots of fucking purging. Korean, you have an amazing night. Thank you, darling. I have about 5 more minutes before I'm going to have to bounce from you guys. Not because I want to, but I have to go pick up Pip. But again, we are going to be live tomorrow again for our weekly hangout, which I love. so much. It's so much fucking fun. Just like to freestyle and to hang out with you guys and to take questions on the spot and just to really just to hang out. So I'm really looking forward to that. I typically go live about 5 p.m. PST. Sometimes a few minutes later, sometimes 5:15, sometimes 5:30. It's somewhere in the 5 o'clock PST range. But if you guys don't have any other questions or anything else that you want to share, we can wrap this up a little bit early, 4 minutes early. I'll give you guys a moment to explore if there's anything that you want to say or anything that you want to ask. But I will be, of course, again, if you joined a little bit later on, I will be doing timestamps a little bit later on tonight. Not right when I get off here, but probably I would say definitely sometimes this evening. Sherry, Pluto is in my 5th with Mars both in Scorpio. That's a lot of energy. Ivan, looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be, I mean, our Friday hangs are the best. Jamie, go get your kid. Love ya. I love you too, darling. I love all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your love. Thank you for being you. Thank you just for being here. You guys really are my family. Sherry, I will see you tomorrow. I love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And until tomorrow, this is your reminder to stay in the high vibration. Good night, and I love you.